I saw an article that said Beyonce just made the most pro-black video of all time. Unbelievable. Now, I'm assuming that the person who said this is a young person who's ignorant of the history of black music, because there was a point in time when black music was just that. It was explicitly black music, and it was about uplifting each other. I mean, think about KRS-One, Self Destruction. Think about Fight the Power. Think about what's the name of that song? There's a song, oh man, I can't remember. There's another big one with a lot of big names from back in the day that I can't remember the name of. But people like KRS-One, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Common, they champion unity and pro-blackness. Like, that's what they're about. That's what they made their career off. And they sacrificed a lot of money and a lot of prestige by speaking that kind of truth and representing that. And people don't really respect them the way that they should. Now, if you contrast that with Beyonce's Formation video, where she made, one or two lines that are admiring black stuff, and she showed some scenes, she basically associated herself with black people. Kind of like the way I said this in my other video, kind of like the way people that think they're down, but like suburban people will say or do things when they're around people from the hood to make it seem like they're from the hood. That song, what was that? That song was about herself. Think about over her entire career, what has she said publicly to where she coming at the system? Or what songs has she made coming at the system to where you could say like she about it? She really care about us. The same song that people are praising her for, saying that it's so black, that very same song, she throws her lavish lifestyle and her money in your face. When she's talking about taking her man to Red Lobster when he hit it good, or when he beat her or something, whatever she said. And she'll make him the Black Bill Gates. Like, what is that? Is that pro-black? Is that about her? What did she say in that video that was pro-black? All she did was have a couple of props in the video. Basically, like, I know all about this. White people have been doing that for years. When they put black people on their filming crews, and when they make sure black people get some airtime, but they're deep down, they're still racist. They're just doing it because their PR connects told them that they need to have some black people around. Now, I'm not saying that, I don't know her heart. I'm not saying that she's faking or anything like that. But all I'm saying is what she did was not that deep. And I am offended for all of the musicians out there who really talk about stuff. Let me just think about DMX's video, his song, Who We Be. They don't know who we be. If you've never seen that video, or if you haven't seen it in a while, look at that video and you tell me what a real pro-black song and video looks like. Talib's video, I Try, or Hostile Gospel, or pretty much anything he's put out. Bizzle, the Christian rapper Bizzle, look up this song. Christian rapper Bizzle, Not For Sale, featuring Lauryn Hill. Now, he's a Christian rapper, and he talks, and that song is basically about not selling out to the industry. And he breaks down what they do. He breaks down how they manipulate us black people into portraying the roles that they want us to portray, to make us look bad, for the sake of money, so we can get a paycheck, so we can get a name. He got a song called What You Gonna Do, which talks about when a young woman has been tricked out or used and abused by men, or a young boy has been gassed up and manipulated by the younger hustlers in the neighborhood. His song is basically about what they go through, and what are you going to do when you run into these people? Are you going to manipulate them and continue the the destruction of their soul, or are you going to teach them something different and show them a better way of life? You know, he got a song called what's it called? Soldier. And it talks about the foolishness of what goes on in our hood. There are so many different artists and songs that are more black than what Beyonce did. That's more pro black or pro uplifting our people, whatever. I don't know, whatever you want to look, the way you want to look at it, than what she did. To praise what she did and not respect those other people. And you may think, yeah, I do respect them. No, you don't. You won't play it. You won't share it. You probably never even commented on it. Or most likely you never even heard those things, because black people do not appreciate those things. Black people are more concerned with an image that we can rally behind rather than the message, the purity of the message, which is why there's such a big push for a corporate official group to represent us. Black Lives Matter. You got to understand, anything that's mainstream is usually corrupt. Black Lives Matter is the mainstream, I guess, protesting group. Because what do they do other than protest? We have a problem looking for a savior. And we look for a savior to make white people treat us better, instead of saying, we're going to do this on our own. And that's what I see with this whole Beyonce thing, that whether or not you think her performance was good, to me, it was the typical hoochery and bragging, you know, with the sensual clothes and the sensual dancing and stuff. And then, you know, the I'm so awesome. That's typical Beyonce. That's typical music today. So whatever. But people, that little teeny bit of so-called I'm downness or blackness that she gave, people are praising her. What do y'all think is going to happen after this? Do y'all think, do you think that you're going to hear her say something in the media about how the music industry takes advantage of people, black people, or how big corporations take advantage of the black community and just swallow up our money? Is she going to be in the media or in her songs and talk about how black people waste their money on expensive things trying to be significant? She's not going to talk about any of that, because that is how she makes her money. She brags about having those things, so she's not going to talk about it. She is not pro-black. She don't care about you, just like most of the other elite black people. They don't care about you. That's just the way it is. They're concerned about their position and where they are. They have too much to lose to really go out and voice support. That's why you have actors, you have lesser actors who have no problem speaking up on things, but not like a lot of the big name star actors. Jada Pinkett, come on, the Oscars have been like the way they are for forever. But why does she decide to speak up now? She's been in the industry basically since she was a teenager. Why is she taking that stance now? Not saying that she hasn't had some brilliant things to say in the past. I have a lot of respect for her, or I used to, because I have an issue with the way their kids are turning out. But she has a brilliant mind. And I used to have a lot of respect for Will too. But my whole point is, you won't hear the heavy hitters making waves. You won't. And Beyonce is the same. She's a part of the system. Think of it, her, Jay-Z, or any of the other real famous, highly respected black people. How powerful would it be if they changed their music? Or even if they kept the music the same, well, maybe not Jay-Z, but if they kept their music kind of like just sort of the status quo, but when they spoke in public, they talked about how we need to better ourselves. They talked about the things that keep us back, things that we can control, because a lot of the things that we want to change are more of the long-term, more difficult things to change, i.e. the way white people think and laws. Now, not saying that we shouldn't try to change those things, but there are a lot of things that we do have more control over, and that we can have more success trying to change that's in our immediate community, like drugs, like poverty, like getting people jobs and things like that. We can have better results with that than we will trying to change laws and stuff and trying to force white people to respect us. That's what a lot of it comes down to. Um, we want to have this great image. Let me give you an example from the Bible. Israel, after Israel came out of Egypt, they had they didn't really have kings. They had judges. They had people that would lead them. But eventually they told God, we want a king. They told their prophet, who was it, Samuel? They told Samuel, we want a king like the other nations. And Samuel was upset and God was upset because they're like, you have God. You don't need no man to, you don't need like an icon to look up to lead you because you have God who's better than anything. But they said, no, we want that hero, that hero card that we can look to and find strength in and that sort of thing. And Samuel said, don't you know what's going to happen when you have a king? When you give this person this power, he's going to take your money. He's going to take the best looking, he's going to take your daughters that he finds attractive and make them his concubines. Basically, he's going to lord that power over them. But because they wanted somebody to stand behind, somebody to have faith in, and they weren't content with God, that's what they did. Black people are doing the same thing today. We want to have one particular person that we can put all our trust and our hope in. And that's not the way to go. That's not the way to go. The way to go is that personally, individually, one by one, man to man, hand to hand, you make changes in your life that will make things better for your kids. And you start off grassroots. You start off from the inside out. Yourself, your family, your extended family, your neighborhood, your job, like you change things that way. Stop trying to look for a quick fix. Stop trying to look to some man or some woman to change things for you because it's not going to happen like that. That's not the way our system is set up. We don't have that kind of pull. And that's not how lasting change happens. You got to be willing to change things for yourself and deal with the problems that you can individually. It's like a guerrilla war. Like if you're the minority in a war, and I'm using this obviously metaphorically because I shouldn't even have to say that, but if you don't amass the biggest army you got. If you're the minority in the war, and you're overmatched or overpowered or at a position of, lesser, you don't just amass as much as you can and try to take on the bigger army head on. No, you do guerrilla tactics, hit and move, stick and run. You do things behind the scenes and you make yourself difficult to predict and difficult to control. That's why terrorist organizations can be so difficult to eliminate, because even though they may have one particular leader or so-called like the face of the organization, they work independently. So you can't just take out the leader and then everyone fall apart, because everyone's kind of independent. And that's how the community should be. If you focus on just building one massive group, first of all, you have the challenge of having everyone on the same page and having everyone agree and get along and work together, which is almost impossible. But then secondly, when that leader dies, what happens to the rest of them? Usually the army or the crowd will disperse. But if we all have that same strength within us, we can make positive changes for this world, and we'll all have a hand in it, not just trying to support this one person or this one group. They don't work. So I know I'm going off on a tangent, but don't be like that. Don't look at Beyonce and she just had a few quote unquote black things in her video, and that makes her pro-black, or it's such a powerful video. When she opens her mouth and starts talking about real issues that's going to get her some criticism, then you open your ears and you listen to what she got to say. But this is nothing. This is nothing, and is disrespectful for those who have put their lives on the line and who have ruined their careers by speaking the truth and really, really sincerely caring about what happens to black people. So that's the end of my rambling. If you listen to this, thank you for taking the time out of your day. And please share it, comment, whatever. But last thing I want to say is, and I know people will say it, just because a person criticizes uh, uh, an esteemed black person doesn't automatically make them a hater. It's ignorant and stupid for us to automatically put our black icons on a pedestal to where they can't be criticized. That is not only stupid, it's counterproductive. It's counterproductive. We don't advance as a people pretending that the best of us don't have flaws or that the best of us is so awesome. You can encourage somebody and support somebody and still have criticisms for the way they do things. I don't know where this idea comes from. Like, these people aren't gods. These people are not gods. And it's just sad because I'm just rambling. I'm gonna stop there, and that's it.